Oh, and I'm Michelle, by the way.
Nice to meet
All
you.
right. So today we're here with Deb, and the Bates unit will be conducting our interview. All right. So I'm really happy you're here at Bates. I think a lot of people are really excited to have you here. So how does it feel to be performing at Bates College? And have you ever been to Maine before?
I don't think I've ever been to Maine before. Driving in from the airport was beautiful around town. I feel like there's a lot of history here, obviously. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I love doing college shows when I can. You know, I love the energy that all the kids have, especially when it's for something cool like homecoming. You know,
Yes,
when
this
it's
is a big
for
deal.
when it's for events like that, and I'm the one that you guys are choosing to celebrate it with. I think it's really cool.
That's awesome. Well, we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So how would you describe your music? What do you want people to feel when they're listening to your songs?
It's hard for me, I guess, to place the music that I make into a specific genre. I think that's everybody's goal, is to do that to me, but it's a little difficult. I obviously make sort of electronic pop music.
Yes.
But I think I pull a lot of influences from, you know, whether it's like hip hop that I liked growing up, or you know, bands that I liked growing up. I guess it really just all depends, and it depends too on what I want people to feel. You know, each song I want something to be different, whether it's them having a really good time and having fun and just hanging out with their friends, no worries, or you know, or it's something personal like a breakup, or you know, something like that. So it really depends, but I think that's what's beautiful about making music.
Yeah, I agree. So how did you first start in electronic music then? So what drew you to that in particular?
Well, it's funny. I grew up listening and loving everything. My parents bought me everything from like, you know, Eminem, Sublime to like, yeah, I mean, I went to all the Warped Tours. I went to all the Rock the Bells concerts. I was just a big fan of music overall. But right before I started making music on my own, I was really intrigued by this movement that was happening with sort of like the Uffies, you know, the Uffies, the Amanda Blanks, the MIAs, like these girls that were being sort of very sassy and bold and fearless, and I kind of liked that. I feel like when I was 18 and I first started making music, that's kind of where my head was at that time. So just naturally, you know, when I met the Cataracts, they were making music like that as well. So it kind of just fit, and you know, we weren't trying too hard to do anything but what came naturally. And so yeah, I kind of just fit into electronic music, I guess.
Oh, that's fabulous. Which leads me to my next question. So you dropped out of college during your first year, which is actually a very courageous thing to do. To
So
pursue
scary.
something.
Oh my God, I know. So weird.
Yeah. So how did you know that this music was your calling, and what type of an experience did you have when you're trying to break into the music scene?
You know, side note, cannot wait to actually graduate from school. I will go back.
Okay.
I praise all the students. I think you guys are awesome. But, you know, I studied music in school. I played the flute for like 10 years, you know. I was a U.S. registered athlete. I was a swimmer my entire life for like 14 years.
Wow.
So I thought I was going to go to college and be on the swim team, and, you know, it was going to be awesome. But I knew in the back of my mind that I always wanted to do music.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not going to push it. I'm from a really small town. Kids don't do stuff like that. They go to school. They, you know, I was like, if anything ever happens, I'll follow it. I'll follow my heart 100%, but I'm not going to push it. I'm just going to go to school. And then I met the Cataracts, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is the thing. This is the moment. Which was really cool for me because it's something that I always wanted, but I never really believed that could happen just because not a lot of kids do that where I'm from, you know. It was scary though. It was. I took a very big risk, and the music industry is completely different than what I thought just from being a fan of music. It's very different than I ever thought it would be. Very difficult, but at the same time, I think, you know, my family is really close to me.
Yes.
Which I need. They help keep me grounded, and it's awesome. My fiance, my baby, I just had a daughter.
Congratulations.
So, you know, thank you. Yeah. Surrounding myself with good people and good teams in the music industry has helped to sort of keep me sane, I think, you know. And they give me inspiration and stuff like that, so it's good.
Okay, that's actually great. I was going to follow up and ask you when you were planning to return to school, and if so, are you going to be still studying music now that you've broken into the scene? Is this something you still really need to do, or is it a passion that you wanted to pursue that?
You know, I think I have a lot that I still want to accomplish and still want to do with music.
You're so young, you have time.
Thanks. So, you know, there's definitely still stuff that I feel like that needs to be done. Maybe when I feel like I've done those things, you know, check them all off my list, I'll get back into school because I would love to graduate. I think it's really important, and I want my daughter to know that I've graduated from college. So yeah, I'll definitely go back. I wanted to study English and art history, so
Okay.
maybe.
That's
We'll see.
great. I'm an English and sociology major, so
Awesome.
I think it's a great combination. So the American version of The Night the Sun Came Up was recently released this past March. So what are your plans for his second album? Are you aspiring to create a similar sound to your first album, or are you looking into like expanding and experiencing different type of
No,
music?
I am actually. That's a really good question. I'm glad that you asked me that. I definitely am in the process right now of writing.
Yeah.
A ton. That's all summer. That's all I've been doing in my computer and my notebooks. I've just been writing to anything and everything I can, which is really cool. But I definitely want there to be. I want this album to be a lot more personal. The first album was personal, but when I sit back and I listen to it, it was also very youthful. I was, 19, 20. G6 happened. I just turned 21.
Yeah.
You know, I had never lived outside of my hometown besides when I moved to Los Angeles. So when I listen back to the first album, I love it and it's great, but it is very sort of, I hear myself being young, you know, and I think that now, like, experiencing everything that I have in the industry, all the good and the bad, and having a daughter, I feel like I've lived a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I definitely want this next album to be a little bit more personal. I would love a little bit more live instrumentation, just because I'm going to start performing with like full band and production and stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
So we'll see. I'd like to have a little bit more mature sort of pop songs, but
No, it's fabulous.
but I don't know. I'm sure I'll still make sassy music till I'm like 60.
That's great. I think it comes out when I listen to your music, even though I haven't hadn't met you before. I get that sense. That's why I like listening to it, because I can relate to it. Which leads me, all your answers are leading me perfectly into my next questions. So you had your daughter Amelia in 2011. So how does this affect any future career plans for you, or any releases? And are you continuing with music on a large scale level? Are you going to take a break for a bit? And what's the balance like?
The balance is it's very interesting, but I'm very fortunate to have my family live very close to me.
Yes.
I knew when I found out that I was going to have a baby that it was going to be difficult. I was going to have to tour with her. She was going to need nannies. I knew that what I was getting myself into. But my fiance and I, we really wanted a family. We wanted to enjoy that part of life. I had been working really hard for a few years, and I felt like it was my time. So. It's cool that my parents are the ones that can help watch her. I didn't have to hire somebody. So it's nice having my family there, my fiance there, to help out with the baby. And we do bring her on the road. It's actually really awesome.
Oh.
But it hasn't derailed anything. In the Dark was at its peak when I was 8 months pregnant.
Oh my
so
goodness.
it kind of worked out fucking perfectly, which is really weird and really cool.
Yeah.
So she's getting older now. She's going to be a year in December.
Well,
So
congratulations.
Thank you. So it's perfect timing for me to get back into the studio now that she's a little bit bigger, and it kind of, I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I definitely think that I think this album wouldn't be what it is going to be if I didn't have her. This next phase. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like an evolution of the artist over
exactly.
time. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So rap and hip hop are genres that usually have large minority representation in them. And you work for the Far East movement for a G6. So how important do you think it is to have broad and diverse perspective in music? And how has your personal life affected your music? Sorry, I'm going to have to do this because I'm afraid to
it's okay. I know. I'm like, where are these sounds coming from? I think it's very important to have a lot of diversity in music all across the board, whether it's hip hop or, it's indie or it's electronic. I think that's what's so beautiful about music. It brings everybody together. I loved being a part of what the Far East movement did for their culture.
Yeah.
I loved, I loved being able to work with Enrique, and what he does for his culture. And I think that artists that do things like that, they're heroes, and it's awesome. My music has affected my life a whole lot. It really has. It's affected my life a whole lot, but all for the good. I've grown a lot I've grown up a lot, you know, and I
Yeah.
think it's awesome. It's really just been
Yeah.
a beautiful experience.
I'm really happy for you.
Thanks.
So, what advice do you have for students who are aspiring to break into the music scene? As you know, we're college, so we've got a bunch of 18 to 21, 22-year-olds, and some have interest in music and they don't know how to get there.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, you know, you have to keep grinding. It's such a grind. This job's way harder than when I was going to school and had like a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? And like I totally would never expect it to be such a vigorous lifestyle. It's so ongoing. There's never a day off. You just have to keep grinding, and really, it's all about the music. You keep making music. You know, I know a lot of things, gimmicks, a lot of these other things play into the music industry. Which can be good and bad, you know, who's to say. But yeah, keep making the music. The music's what's most important. If you have great records, everybody will follow.
It's wonderful to hear. So, what's the best part of being a performer? What do you enjoy most about performing, being here, the whole process?
I love performing. It's my favorite part about what I do. Really, like, I obviously going to the studio and creating the songs I get to perform is important, but it's definitely my favorite part. I love seeing the crowd's reaction. I love feeding off their energy, and I really like, it's me being most vulnerable. Even if I'm up there singing like a G6, which isn't a very vulnerable record, it's it's really me exposing myself to these people. But it's cool. I can tell, when I connect with the crowd and they really feel what I'm saying, and I really feel their reaction. It's a very It's
an intimate type of connection.
Very awesome.
Not many people get to have the chance to be up there.
I wish everybody could. I really wish everybody would just at least one time do a talent show or something. It's such a cool feeling. It's awesome.
Because everybody who's going to show up here tonight is coming to see you, and that's a pretty cool feeling. So, do you have any last thoughts for Bates College? Any last things you'd like to leave us with before you perform, or?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you to everybody for having me. This is really cool that I get to celebrate homecoming with everybody. So, thank you. Thank you for all the support, and I hope everyone has fun.
All right, thanks so much, Deb, for taking some time to sit down with us.
Thank you.